In this video, I'm going to tell you the biggest lie that tax assessors tell themselves and the public. Every year, the Georgia Department of Revenue posts a report of how many appeals are submitted and how they were resolved out of all 159 counties. Now, as you might expect, the larger the county, the more appeals there are, numerically speaking. Also, it turns out that the larger counties also have a somewhat higher percentage of appeals being done as a proportion of the overall parcels in a county. Now, the reasons for that are many, and I'm not going to be able to cover all the reasons, but I'm going to hit some of the higher reasons. Take, for example, in Fulton County in Atlanta. The last time I saw a report, it was roughly around 6 or 7% of all parcels that get appealed. But also Fulton County has one of the highest appreciations in the state of Georgia. Another reason is there are far more professionals that provide tax appeal services. There are much more lawyers. There's just much more knowledge of the tax appeal process within Fulton County compared to smaller counties where they have little or no support. If you're from a smaller county, the only way you're probably hearing about the Georgia tax appeal process is you probably looked online or you heard about it and you're now watching my YouTube video, or you've seen my website, or you stumbled onto my book. The majority of counties in Georgia are small and they have very little support. Now, to be fair, they also don't have as much appreciation. There's probably not as much real estate activity. They just have lower numbers and lower percentage of appeals being submitted every year. Now, having said all that, this is where the lie comes in. Even in Fulton County, even in the larger counties where there's a higher percentage that can go anywhere from 5 to 7%, what they're telling the public and what they tell themselves, and the reason why I know this is because I've had these discussions with these people and I've tried to give them a dose of reality and they don't want to hear it, so I don't really give a shit anymore. So I take my information and my opinions straight to the public. And the lie is this: they think their numbers are so good, they're so accurate through their mass appraisal system that if they have a low percentage, because they don't have citizens submitting property tax appeals, right? Why would a citizen accept flawed assessments if they felt it was wrong? And it's really quite simple. If you're watching this video, there's a good chance that you're trying to get educated. There's a good chance you're somewhat intimidated. There's a good chance that you have questions and concerns. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching this video. If you didn't like your assessment, you wouldn't be watching this video. And in fact, a lot of people know I do tax appeals in several counties. A number of people, they don't submit tax appeals for one reason or another. Now, one reason is they don't want to pay for the service, which is fine. I understand that. Another reason is they're too intimidated, or they don't want to go through the bother. There are so many reasons why people don't file tax appeals. Don't believe for a second it's because these mass appraisals and these tax assessments are so wonderful that the citizens just are in love with them. For a variety of reasons, the tax appeals are undercounted. In other words, there's a lot of people sitting on their assessments. They put up with the assessments out of sheer ignorance, fear, intimidation, whole bunch of reasons, but the numbers are skewed low. Now, if you're watching this video, I would highly encourage you to learn about the tax appeal process for your own information. It will be your call whether you decide if it's a hassle or not. I don't have a dog in the fight in the sense that I'm political. I have no political interest, but what I am passionate about is people getting ripped off. And so property taxes are a way to rip its citizens off. And they don't do it in overt ways. They do it in very subtle ways. And one of those subtle ways is making it difficult and not teaching the public about tax appeals and how to get through them, or how to negotiate them, or knowing some of the more obscure steps that's available to citizens. And I'm sick and tired of all the lies. And when I'm dealing with the tax assessor's office, I'm certainly not taking this type of tone as I am with you in this video. The reason why I feel I can take a more louder, more boisterous tone is because because my constituent or the viewer is going to be the property owner that needs encouragement. They're already suspicious. And I'm saying to you, you have good reason to be suspicious. You have good reason to mistrust, because I've been dealing with this for well over a decade, 12, 13 years, across 6 counties. And I've just seen a lot of weird stuff, and I've never talked about it. I've kind of held it inside for many years. And so fortunately with YouTube, I am much more inclined to share this information, because these videos are being directed to people who care. They want information. They want to understand what's going on. Do not fall for the lie. They are lying to you, or they have drank the Kool-Aid. They are out of touch. There's another story of a local owner. He has like 1,000 properties, and the single reason why he doesn't want to file tax appeals on any of his properties, no matter how outrageous the assessments are, is simply he's very old school, and apparently back in the day, there was revenge, there was pettiness, there was all kinds of weird stuff. Maybe it's still possible. I find it to be less likely today because there's the internet, there's much more reporting, there's much more visibility. The politics of property taxes have exploded into the public eye. So this old school corruption, revenge thing is less likely to happen. I am not privy to the ongoings of all 159 counties. My general mission is simply to educate people and bring to light the stories I've heard, the things I've been through, and the research I've engaged in. So if you've had any suspicions about the tax appeal process and property taxes, they're probably true to some degree or another. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.